Okay, we're like that.
Okay. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's 5:05. To invocation. Lina, would you like to do the invocation for us? Please stand.
Gracious God, thank you for bringing us all together this evening to do your work. Help us do what's right for this community. Help us do what's right for our families. Keep us in your hearts and minds for those who are overheated and may not have access to water and shelter. We ask that the work that is in front of us this evening, we do with diligence and openness of heart and mind. And always in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Tina. Pledge of allegiance, young ladies would like to lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico and the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Thank you. Roll call. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Aguilar. Vice Chair Secretero.
Here.
Commissioner Duggins. Commissioner Gonzalez. Chair Martinez.
Present, ma'am. We have a quorum, so we'll continue with business. Before I ask for the approval of the agenda, thank you, young ladies, for doing the Pledge of Allegiance and coming to our commission meeting. I know the commission likes when the youth gets involved. Thank you. I also want to thank everyone that's here, present. I know it's pretty hot out there. You guys have to be careful now. Our emergency director, Mr. Jerry Wheeler, has been sending emails to all kinds of employees warning us about the heat. So we need to drink a lot of fluids and keep hydrated as much as possible. Okay, approval of agenda, commissioners had a chance to review the agenda. Is there any changes or additions before we ask for an approval? Good, okay. No changes, so I need a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The agenda is approved as presented. Item 7, approval of minutes of June 27, 2023. Commissioners, have you had a chance to review the minutes? Any changes or anything? Need a motion to approve the minutes of June 27? Moved by Commissioner Secretarial, second by Commissioner Aguilar. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the June 27, 2023 minutes are approved. Hello, Commissioner.
How are you, Mr. Chairman?
Good, good. Item 8, committee and department reports. A, acknowledge department reports. First one is DWI SCCAP office.
Good evening. Good evening. I hope this is going to work.
Is it on?
Yes.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Just shout out us.
Shout, there we go.
There we go.
Good evening, Chair Martinez and Commissioners. This evening, we have a treat for you. We've had two wonderful young student workers over the summer that have really jumped into what our office means and have sort of taken over our prevention program and have created, you have samples of their PowerPoints. So collaboratively with our office and with the Scope Prevention Office, they have created PowerPoints that have just really taken off, and we're super proud of them. So I'd like to present to you Haley and Genesis. And we have two samples this evening because I know we don't have time to run through all of them, but I'd like for them to present two samples of the PowerPoints that they have created for us. And they will be our student ambassadors this year. Genesis is going into 9th grade and Haley will be going into 12th grade. So we are just very fortunate to have had these two young ladies in our office this summer. So with that, I'll introduce Haley and Genesis.
Start.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Genesis Litt. My summer placement is SCAP. We would like to present PowerPoints we created for you, the program based on our student life experience. Thank you for the opportunity. Good evening, commissioners. My name is Haley Calvin. My summer placement is SCAP. We would like to present PowerPoints we created for the program based on our student life experience. Thank you for the opportunity. We got a few slides that created. Here we have what does DWI mean.
You can take it off if it's easier, so you can talk into it.
Here we have what does DWI mean. What happens when you get caught drinking and driving? Here we have the deadly consequences of drinking and driving. The shocking truth about drunk driving. The shocking truth about drunk driving, we have on average a person will drive drunk 80 times before they're arrested. A blood alcohol level 0.8 slows reaction response by 12 feet. And we have it takes 6 hours for the body to completely eliminate alcohol from its system. We have 10 tips to avoid driving drunk. We have pick a designated driver. We have call a cab or Uber. Take the night off from drinking. We have stop drinking at least 90 minutes before you plan to leave. 5, stick around for a few extra hours to help you clean up and sober up. Spend the night. Catch a ride on public transportation. Know your body and pace yourself. Don't drink on an empty stomach. Give someone you trust your keys. How to prevent drunk driving accidents.
Never get in a car with a drunk driver. Don't let your loved ones drive impaired. Contact law enforcement if you see a drunk driver on the road. Drive them home. If you go out alone, do not drink any alcohol. Never feel pressure to drink. Know the consequences. On this one, we have anxiety, and then symptoms of anxiety in teenagers. And then recurring fears and worries about routine parts of everyday life. Trouble concentrating, extreme self-consciousness or sensitivity to criticism, withdrawal from social activity, avoidance of difficult or new situations. Next, we have depression. Behavioral changes. We have tiredness and loss of energy. Sleeping too much. Changes in appetite, decreased appetite and weight loss. Use of alcohol or drugs. Slow thinking, speaking, or body movements. Frequent complaints of unexplained body aches or headaches. And social isolation. Emotional change. Feelings of sadness, frustration, or feelings of anger, feeling hopeless or empty, irritable or annoying mood, loss of interest or pleasure in usual activities, low self-esteem, feelings of worthlessness or guilt, trouble thinking, concentrating, making decisions, and remembering things. We have underage drinking. It is estimated that nearly 1/3 of teens have had one alcoholic drink by the age of 15. Nearly 60% of teens had had at least one alcoholic drink by the age of 18. It is estimated that for those 13-15 years old, about 4 drinks satisfies the binge drinking criteria. Gun violence. According to the Washington Post, there were 46 shootings at K-12 schools in 2022, surpassing 2021's record of 42 school shootings, and all 43,450 children experienced school shootings last year. Next, we have suicide. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among people aged 15 to 24 in the U.S. Nearly 20% of high school students report serious thoughts of suicide, and 19% have made an attempt to take their lives. What causes teens to attempt suicide? Changes in their families, such as divorce or moving to a new town. Changes in friendships, problems in school, other losses. What are the warning signs of teen suicide? Changes in eating and sleeping habits. Loss of interest in usual activities, withdrawal from friends and family members. Acting out behaviors and running away. Neglecting one's personal appearance. Unnecessary risk-taking. Drug abuse. 61 of drug use went up among 8th graders between 2016 and 2020. 50% of teenagers have misused a drug at least once. 2.08 billion of 12 to 17-year-olds nationwide report using drugs in the last month,
83.88% report using marijuana in the last month. 11.2% of overdose deaths are aged 15 to 24. And then here we have teens' biggest struggles: alcohol abuse, drug abuse, depression, and anxiety. We put places to call if you need someone. Scope, the city PD non-emergency, the sheriff's, SCAP, and then the SCAP after hours. And then here we have the 988 call, text, or message. 988 for mental wellness. We have 3 ways to connect: call, text, or message. Reasons to call or text 988: feeling sad, confused, or angry, worried about your safety or someone you know, worried about alcohol or drug misuse. Dial 1, Veterans Crisis Line. Dial 2, Spanish Subnetwork. Text, talk to 988, connect to your local crisis center via the internet. You always have someone to talk to with 988's website, and then say to call, text, or message 988. And that will be the end of our teen prevention slideshow.
So what I want to say is, when both the students came to the office, all Stephanie and I did, Stephanie's sort of been overseeing them, and I'm grateful for that. All we did was give them themes. They designed 100% of everything, and you have the copies of bullying and a day in a life of a student in school and some of the other topics. They did 100% of everything, and it's just been really amazing. So we're very grateful for the fact that they're even willing to share their experience with us in school, and it's really made a big difference in even our program, because as adults we think what children or young people need to hear, but everything that you saw was directly from their experience. So we're very grateful for that. So good job, Haley and Genesis. Thank you.
Did you young ladies enjoy working for the county?
It was fun.
Fun?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you guys got to work with us. I know Commissioner Duggins has always wanted to put the youth at one time here, follow a commissioner around, and I don't know if we ever can do that. I think it'd be something where they could just sit and see how government is run. I think it's a good idea because like you guys are young, you're the future of the county and our country. So the more you know, the better it is. We, the commission, want to wish you well in your education. Do the best you can. Thank you again. You're always welcome. Come on our meetings anytime.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, you're high school ladies? Or
Yes.
have you personally seen like drugs in school? Or people like the availability? Have you seen it yourself?
Not personally.
I just was curious.
Okay, the next one is road department.
Chair Martinez, commissioners, you guys doing this evening? Well, it's with our chip sales, we're catching up on our roads now and just waiting for the striping. They can fit us in. We're cleaning up North Coast Casino now. And, removing all that sand. And getting hot out there, you know. We enjoyed having the kids this year, you know, they were a big help. I want to say congratulations to the young ladies here. And everything's running fine so far. And I'll be returning the loader back to John Deere, the one that we're running. So time at the end of the month. That's about it. You guys got any questions?
Commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, you're renting a loader?
Yeah.
Why, your loader's no good, is it in for repair?
No, it's just that, we actually need two loaders. We used to have two loaders, just that one gave out. We had to rent this one, just, you know, so we can have one in each side of the county. So. I really need a loader.
Put it on the list, I don't know, there's a big list of them.
But, I've been asking for 3.5 years. Women, but. Hanging on.
You've got your crew hired the personnel that you need,
Yeah,
so you're full now?
well, we just need to hire, we just need to move up some people from. There's an opening for a foreman, there's opening for an operator also. An operator 3 and a foreman. You know, we already put it on the website.
So if someone from your crew gets those promotions, then you'll need to hire somebody for their position, correct? So you still have.
But, we're moving along. We're doing all right. Trying to catch up, but, you know, these roads are too dry, so. A lot of ranchers don't want their roads graded because they'll be back in 3 days.
Doing good right now.
Yeah. So, hopefully we get our monsoon, we can start working these roads and building more.
You've been preparing for the monsoon season?
Yeah,
Cleaning out culverts, weeds and
yeah, we already cleaned all the ones going towards Bavadera, the ones down in San Antonio. There's one in San Antonio I saw today there by the school. I need to clean that one out pretty good. Yeah, there are a lot of weeds around it and clean it up a little bit more, a little bit better. But like up towards Jesse Taylor's and then we clean that out, so. But there's some weeds that growing in there, so we're gonna have to remove those also. We're doing all that. All the way towards maybe talking about here. And we're helping Wayden. They're removing some of that debris that's in there, that moth, I guess.
the what?
Moth.
Oh, in Escondido?
Yeah, it's gonna be the lake, yeah. I have 2 of my operators up there. Ready to go, so.
Or are they cleaning that now?
We're following through with the dredging before we install the aeration equipment.
Who's helping us, Mike? Is it the
They're
girl?
real managers. Yeah, they have the big
The big
excavator.
excavator.
They have 2 of them out there.
Got plenty of ducks out there. They have ducks out there now. So.
That they have what?
Ducks.
Ducks?
Yeah. Looks like they had some hatcheries, so they were out there swimming around today.
That was good that they're helping us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we requested it a while back and they were very cooperative, very excited. And they're excited about some of the plans we have and trying to get it to come to fruition. We have some other things we want to ask them, but we'll see how that goes.
But everything else is good.
Well, all right, I want to thank you and our manager. We met in Hot Canyon last week and you guys came up with plans, so I want to thank you for taking the time to go out there.
Yeah,
Some of the work that's needed there.
I already put the order in. As soon as I get the PO, I'll send it over to A1 and then you take care of that. For the monsoon stuff, they can get it done.
If you don't mind, when the work's going to start, they can send a message on Maggie board. That way the people in Hot Canyon will know what's going on.
I'll send it over to Mike when we start and then he can send it out to you guys and send it to Mike.
And tomorrow we have that meeting with the forest. It'll be good and see what direction we get from that.
I've been getting a lot of calls about the cattle guards and a little bit of drainage.
Yep.
Right now, I just gotta wait until the course gives us the okay.
Any question from us? Commissioners?
Not right now.
Okay.
Chairman,
Yes.
Art did give me the list and quotes the 4 pieces of equipment. He has his dream sheet. It's fairly expensive, so I'm gonna look into lease versus purchase. There's one, the flatbed we can't lease, so that'll probably have to be an outright purchase if we can, but I'm going to put those numbers together for the commission, probably either next meeting or the meeting after, and let you know where we're at fiscally. And if that is something we want to do, either lease or purchase, and or if we want to put some of those items on the ICIP, that we have to start prioritizing ICIP in August. That's right around the corner. So there's some big ticket items on there. So we might want to split or whatever the commission desires once we start looking at whether the affordability and what we're at fiscally, along with all the other things that we want to get done.
I really need a loader. I'm just saying, I really need a loader. Another loader. The other equipment can hold off, I can hold off on that until.
And you let Mike know that. You gave him the price.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, then I believe right now it's at 236. Just off the top of my head,
217,000.
yeah, I know it's close.
Right, it's not cheap. That's not cheap, but.
All right, thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. We have the sheriff and other departments if anyone wants to say anything.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's nice and cool in here. So last month was a pretty busy month. I start off letting you guys know we got a really nice bust on a chop shop. Got back a bunch of different vehicles. We got stolen cars, stolen trailers, stolen flatbeds, campers, food trucks, a few different food trucks. This was going to be coincidentally right next to a little spot of county property. It was bordering up there in Rio Grande State. And we did arrest one person with it, but the vehicle that a lot of the witnesses, the victims said stole their items was a white and colored Ford, I think it was F-250, and it's still going. So I got a call from one of the guys that we recovered their vehicle, and he had seen where that same vehicle, I guess one of his friends, that same white Ford stole a flatbed from somebody there in Albuquerque. So it's still going. We had one person, he's not going to come. The person we arrested has a rap sheet of stealing vehicles and assault on police officers. It's considered armed danger. But so we did get him. Hopefully we'll be able to go back and look to see if we can catch the remaining people that are involved in this. We've been working on a missing persons case, and I believe the city was also working it. Somehow the city was able to help find the people, the person that was involved in Arizona. Off the top of my head, I just forgot her name. I was thinking about it. We've been busy. A lot of big issues going on. There's a check fraud. There's a whole bunch of people that are involved, and we're working on that right now. They're getting checks and they're changing them, the numbers and whatnot. this group of people are they're signing it, putting it in their account, but the people that are putting it in the account aren't the people that hold the account, right? So we're trying to figure that one out. I think we might end up calling the FBI or someone to help us with that, because it's going to become a big case. But we have some sexual assault cases that we're working on. Just anything out there, we're working. There's an issue that that is concerning my office that you guys will be discussing in the executive session. I would like to be a part of that. I'd like to be there for that if possible. Something that I feel really passionately about. And I guess we can discuss that. But do you guys have any questions?
Commissioners? We've been getting some emails from Grace Phillips, the attorney for the Associated County.
Okay.
And Mike informed me that you guys don't transport too many prisoners out of here. They want that information compiled from each county. And I think, I understand the reason they want that is because of the liability. Other counties, there's a big liability when you start transporting inmates. Plus, I think the last meeting we went, they want to get some kind of numbers to present to the legislature and to the governor so they can kind of help us with that cost. And also, they discuss regionalizing detention centers. All that's coming, the meetings that I've gone to, that's what they need, all of this information, so they have something, some kind of documentation.
Okay.
May I chime in?
Yes, please.
Chairman, Commissioners, thanks, Lee. How are you doing tonight?
Cool. It's a nice room here than outside.
So that's already been coordinated. We have a transportman and the detention center usually handles the majority. Once in a while, the sheriff's department will. We already have those numbers, and I submitted them to Joy this morning. Good.
So we do a fair amount. We have a transport officer because we are obligated statutorily to transport people from other counties to Socorro for court. So if there's a court case and a guy is being held at the prison in Santa Fe, we have to go up there, pick him up, bring him to court, and take him back. If the person is already an inmate here in Socorro, then the jail takes care of those transports. They transport anybody to court here or around where they need to be. But we do a fair amount. Our transport officer does do a lot of transports, especially from grants and stuff, different prisons, different jails. If there's somebody held on a warrant, say somebody gets arrested in, again, we'll say Santa Fe, for a warrant that's out of Socorro County, then we're obligated statutorily again to go up there and pick them up. And we have, I think, a 5-day grace period. Once we have been informed, we have 5 days to go. So we do our transports. And then we, sometimes when the jail does, when they're shorthanded, if they need something done, then we work with them also.
That's good. We sent the information. She was really asking all the counties to send it in. Okay. So Mike sent it already. One more question from me. Has anyone contacted you from the CLL for the wolf?
No.
Remember I mentioned in one of the commission meetings that if you were willing to do it, you said you needed to get more information. And I told them that.
Off the top of my head, I don't think anybody has called me. I think I remember that. But I get a million phone calls a day, but I'm 99%.
I can hardly hear you.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I'm very soft talker.
And well, I'll contact the main person that's supposed to start coordinating this. If you guys can help us, that would be good.
Absolutely.
We're gonna have training, proper training to be able to do that. And, at our last meeting in Missouri, that's what was mentioned. So Someone contact.
Absolutely, please, I'd love to listen to what they have to say.
Thank you so much.
Anything else, Jeff? Appreciate it.
The wolf, what do you mean with the wolf? Like to determine whether it was a wolf kill or not?
Yes.
The sheriff's department to determine that? Do they get compensated for the time? I mean,
It'll be me going and doing it, you know, or, you know.
I just mean, I think they're stretched. I want it done, don't get me wrong, but we need some money for that or?
Chairman, Commissioner Duggins, I believe the CLLA has gone through some processes to get a budget together. And I believe part of the concept of training local law enforcement on detection of wolf kill would result in some of that budget being utilized by local investigators when federal government wasn't able to do it and in tandem with them. And the idea was to use some of that acquired funding to pay for that, is my understanding. I could be wrong. I think Adrian might have some more insight.
I think that's ultimately, I mean, that's ultimately a goal of the program. Currently, I know that Catherine County has on staff a full-time investigator that does that. I don't believe that Socorro County at this time would require a full-time one, but it would certainly be very beneficial if the sheriff, would, if the sheriff would be able to do a few of those investigations. I mean, that would help the CLLA pay out those funds and it'd be something the sheriff already knows about. It's really a crime scene investigation. I mean, you need to know the details about the animals and about, it's different than with a person. But other than that, I think the sheriff would know 95% of it already. So it would be beneficial. Certainly, you don't want to take the sheriff away from his other duties, but I mean, if it's possible, it would be great to help out the citizens.
Absolutely, and we would love to do it. A lot of it, some of us already know, like, I grew up on a ranch. His brother James, my captain, grew up on a ranch. And, the difference between a dog attack and a coyote attack is you just know the way dogs will just kind of bite the tail and do certain things where coyotes go for the kill because they're hungry. Dogs will just play with them. And so you could tell the difference when they bite the nose, bite the throat. Dogs will bite ears and bite tails and bite butts. Coyotes will go for a kill. So,
And the wolf?
the wolf's very similar. Now, I haven't had really, I don't think, any dealings with wolves, but most real wild animals are the same way. They go for the kill because they are hungry, or feral animals, or even pets. Will go for it. Is that your experience also?
I'd say
I'd say that's certainly mostly true. I mean, certainly, although wild animals, usually the mothers certainly are. That's what they're after. Sometimes you do get a bad cat or a mountain lion or a wolf. They just do it for fun.
Yeah.
But certainly, the mothers are doing it for that reason.
And a wolf print is very. It's you're going to be able to tell a wolf print from a dog print.
Well, Lee, looking at my notes from that meeting in reserve, the guy that does it for capturing is Jess Carey. He's gonna retire. He's willing to train the people, and I don't know if he's gonna get signed on contract with the county. He's been doing it for quite a few years.
Yeah.
And he's very knowledgeable. Federal government gets him to do that. Right now, currently in reserve, there's 120 kills. As of the last meeting we had,
what time frame?
less than a year.
That's just this year.
And that says nothing of the aborted calves or, the decrease in pregnancy. How big is that? That's
There's different studies on it. Some of them say it's pretty significant, 50% at least.
So I'm ready to do it. You just tell me when they're available, and I'll make sure that my guys are available.
And the reason I ask is because this is just in Captain. They have some for Socorro County already, but I don't know. They didn't have those numbers.
And, you know, surprisingly, they haven't involved us at all. Very little.
Captain for Socorro.
Or from Socorro, like, I don't get reports on it, nobody's come to talk to me about it. I mean, we've gotten reports of wolves being around. When we get there, of course, they're not gonna be there. So I think I've seen a couple myself, but I've never been called for a wolf attack on livestock, at least that I can remember. As a deputy, as a captain, or as currently the sheriff, I really can't remember any calls like that.
Well, we approved the forms and the payment for the different levels at our last meeting and the website. That website will be coming out pretty soon and it'll be open to anybody to see. So we'll be able to get the forms to submit the stuff, and the website will show what the purpose of that CLL is. It's fantastic. We had 2 of our state representatives at the meeting, Mrs. Armstrong and Mrs. Caramillo. We had asked them for $1 million in the legislature to be able to compensate this. And they said that the state is loaded with money and for us to request a higher number. So we requested $3 million a year for the next 5 years. So hopefully we'll have some funding to carry that. That's been part of the problem. The funds to be able to pay the ranchers. So I'm happy that once you get all the information, you can decide to help out with that.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
You have the assessor's office. You guys want to say anything or no? No? Okay. Okay, acknowledge manager's report. You have a written report. Any question, commissioners?
Commissioner, if I may, Commission, I would like to say, I would like to remind the public that we have a community meeting on the 18th in San Antonio at 6 p.m. reference the San Antonio Park. Also, Leonardo's son celebration of life is tomorrow afternoon at the San Antonio Fire Department from noon to about 3.
Thank you. Item C, acknowledge July birthdays. Who'd like to do that? John.
July birthdays. Chris Scarborough, Maintenance Department, July 1st. Carrillo Jr., Assessor's Office, July 4th. Salina Lopez, Manager's Office, July 7th. Josefino Rosales, Program, July 9th. Donna South, Assessor's Office, July 9th. Kimberly Torres, Detention Center, July 9th. Raylin Crispin, Maintenance Department, July 12th. Eric Spargo, Assessor's Office, July 18th. Charles Gonzalez, Clerk's Office, July 19th. Eddie Garcia, Detention Center, July 20th. Sal de la Roca Peña, Detention Center, July 20th. Eric Silva, Road Department, July 22nd. Ricky Silva Jr., Detention Center, July 28th. Jerry Wheeler, Emergency Management, July 30th. Maria Islinda Anaya, Foster Grandparent, July 31st.
Happy birthday to all these employees. Acknowledge Commissioner's report. Commissioner Aguilar. Commissioner Secretary, Commissioner Nuggins?
I guess I'd just say that yesterday in the Middle Rio Grande Conservancy meeting, it was brought up that they were participating, helping the county with the lake, and it's just no problem. They're willing and able. So hopefully they can, there's a lot of water smart money, they call it. They're for people, individuals, government agencies to get it all done. Our water has almost disappeared. They expect the Rio Grande to dry here in the San Antonio reach here, San Acacia reach here somewhere in the next maybe 10 days or so. And that's normal. It's never been a continuously flowing river. And so the world's not coming to an end because the river's dry. It doesn't mean we're gonna run out of water. We still have some water in ditches and things like that. And the minnow's doing well.
In my part is, I'd like to ask the commission the legislature will be here before we know it in January. And hearing the representatives and senators, there's a lot of money. So I think as commissioners, we need to meet and set our priorities of what we need to ask for, or what we would like to get. And both representatives said the sooner the better, because they're gonna start getting busy. And that we could have that information. Hopefully we can get some money. So Mike can set it up if you guys don't mind, and we can set up some priorities and what we want done. I know for sure one is the Veguita Health Center. We have to fund it. Hopefully they'll help us fund it every year. That's one for sure. And anything else you guys feel?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, if you don't mind, maybe commissioners could send me a list. We can start, and then with their wish list, I can start putting some cost figures to it. And then we can try to have it ready by August, because ICIP is due in August, so we can discern what we can ask for with for ICIP and through LGRF and TPF, and then what we might be able to afford otherwise with hopefully that other tranche that's supposed to be coming that we were promised that hasn't got here since January. So if you wouldn't mind thinking about it, if you want me to send out some ideas to get the juices flowing, I can do that as well.
It'd be nice.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, Manager Haas have we ever been reimbursed for the FEMA? Is it called 4 tanks out there? Is that what it's called, the bridge or the culverts, whatever it was?
365,000 we have not been reimbursed.
Commissioner Secretary, can the Navajo Nation apply pressure or somehow something? I know it's federal government, but we ought to get the money. How long has it been? Years?
We spent it in 19 and 20, two different years we funded it, and spent 365.
Is it possible that they see if they can send a letter to somebody or something? I mean, I know federal government, they slow down.
Well, in actuality too, it's and then Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management as well, and their turnover rate is astronomical. I've made, if I haven't made 30 calls of mine, so along with our emergency manager, so we'll get that on again. I've actually contacted Nick as well out of Senator Lujan's office to try to see if on that side if we can apply some pressure. I also reached out to the Lieutenant Governor, and they're their bureaucracy. I don't know how else to put it, but it's been 19 and 20, we spent 365 total.
I've been fortunate enough to be at the table in Washington with other governors of the state in Pueblos, and I'm telling you, in 15 minutes, it was over. And if the right person could make a phone call or letter, I bet it might. It'd do a lot more than you can do, I think.
Good. Anything else, commissioners? Art, I forgot to ask you a while ago, did you guys ever send that email to the DOT? I know Aaron Chavaria had sent an email. We asked for the INC equipment from them, and he referred us to somebody else. Did we ever contact that other person?
Yeah, I contacted him.
What did he say?
He said he'd get back to me, so I'm just waiting. His name is Madeline or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to get a hold of him again.
Yeah, well, see, try to get him, I'll call him tomorrow morning.
Because in September is when they take that down.
Yeah, they always be, they'll stop by here and then they take it up.
Be good.
I don't know if they go up here and then they take it down.
Appreciate it.
I'll give him a call in the morning.
Public comment, number 9. Anybody else public comment?
I'd like to just, if possible, give an update. I think I was appointed to an opioid task force with Commissioner Duggins, and I just wanted to give an update that I have had contact with the point person at that task force once, and then I'm having another meeting with her again on Thursday. So it's just to give an update. She's actually really impressed that we have so much going on here in Socorro County with the stakeholders and all the different programs we have for opioid prevention. So it's just to inform Commissioner Duggins that I will have a meeting with her again on Thursday. It's a phone meeting, just to do an update on all of the stakeholders that we have here in Socorro County for our opioid prevention programs that are countywide. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else, Jennifer, public comment?
No.
Okay, item 10. A, consideration and direction to staff regarding site Southwest Escondida Lake conceptual design. A. Okay.
Raise that roof program to repay for pregnancy or, they
Can you get the website?
need to get rid of it. You're gonna have like we are.
But if the legislature gives us 10 million a year,
Well, it helps. We still don't. I can't believe it.
Chairman and Commissioners, it's Bob Oberdorfer, landscape architect with Site Southwest in Albuquerque. And I've been working with Michael Quaylen and to come up with some conceptual master plan ideas for improvement up at Escondido Lake. I have some more copies here. It's okay. So you have something to look at. In case you can see this, we don't. So this is the first option that we looked at. Basically, when the spring people are familiar with the facility out there, there's a large sort of rectangular area of turf grass. There's existing
RV spaces along the northeast side of the lake. And then a day use parking area, an ADA fishing pier and shelter down to the southwest corner of the lake. Actually, we're turning around that south, this is north. Anyway, on the south side of the lake. And then, so what we had talked about was ways to reduce the turf that's out there now, to reduce the amount of water and maintenance on it, increase the RV, number of RV camping sites out there, a little bit better accommodate some tent camping sites, and trying to improve the lake. So this concept, basically, the current road comes in along the north side. It's single loaded with the RV sites along the north edge. They're currently undefined, just kind of, it's all dirt and people pulling park underneath the trees. The south side, I believe, is intended to be additional day use parking for the turf area and the playground. But it's basically a really wide road through there. And so what we did with this concept is double loaded the RV parking along that north edge of it there. We better defined the northeast corner as a kind of a loop for tent camping up in that area. So that'd be extensive or exclusively for tents. Added a turnaround at this point, and then a gated reservation group site up in the northwest corner of that. We reduced the turf area and introduced some native grass vegetation down closer to the lake and to the day use parking there. We've made the parking, the playground actually stand to be upgraded a little bit, but we didn't spend a lot of time on that because it's something we'll get into in the design a little bit. We added a second day use area, or a group site, group shelter in that area, some individual picnic shelters along the lake, a better defined loop path around the lake, and then a little better definition on the day use parking area on that south side. And then the last page of your handout there actually shows an enlargement of the prototype. So these are kind of just blob areas that indicate where the actual sites would be, but the prototype layouts that we've got actually shows how those could be configured a little more efficiently by actually putting in curbs of some sort. We would protect the area around it. I mean, right now, one of the problems is that when people are backing trailers in, they run over the water connections and electrical connections and the grills, and so those are not protected. So by better defining those, giving them an angled orientation so that they can back in the RVs and trailers, that would help minimize some of that. And then we've got a couple layouts for tent options in this tent loop here. Option 2 does some of the same things. Rather than double loading the RV parking here, we actually looked at extending a loop drive around to connect into the day use parking on the south side of this area, open area. The turf is snugged in a little bit from the lake to enable us to do some RV parking. It'd be kind of like premium sites that would be overlooking the lake instead of off in the background here. There's a through path that would connect into the playground in the middle. And the same, we have a similar configuration with the group reservation site up there. There's a second group site down here. This can be gated and controlled if that's desired. But the other thing that we did is the RV parking would remain up in the northeast corner where it kind of is undefined now. But then we moved tent camping over along the west side there so that they're a little more isolated, separated from the RV camping with the generator noise and things like that. That can either be a turnaround with a traffic circle at the end, or it could actually be designed to connect through to the small little day use parking in the south corner. There's a separate access. And then this one, we have a similar configuration with individual picnic shelters, but those are on the side of the path away from the lake so that they might not interfere as much with fishermen as option 1 would. And it also gets it, kind of shuts it down
closer to the main entrance. And then the last thing is just the actually I don't have a mark for the prototypes here, but those are the ones that you have in your packet. So at this point, we're basically looking for input. If anybody has any thoughts or comments, if you want to take some time to look at the handouts that you got there and mark up some comments on that, you can get them to Michael and he can forward those on to us. But essentially, our choices are basically we can, if there's a preference for either one of these master plans, we can move forward with it. If you like some elements of one and some of the other one, let us know those and we can combine them. But our next step is going to be for an alternative, and then we'll define it and dial it in a little bit more instead of just the sketchy concept that we've got here. And with that, and Michael, once I missed anything, I will open up for questions.
Mr. Chairman, the west side there, along those trees, and that turnaround.
Yeah.
I really like that. Those are tents, not trees.
Well, these are trees, but the tent sites.
It's for the tents to part of the RV.
Correct.
I like that, but those round green circles are meant to be trees, right?
Right.
Our wind usually comes from the west, and I always thought we should develop that west side and farmers but so I've just thought, well, you need more water. Does anybody know what the production rate of the pump we have? It's probably not much, huh? Like the well, the Quaylen.
I'll have to look, I don't have that offhand, but I do
it
have.
runs. It
We don't
runs.
have nowhere near enough water.
Yeah, it runs. How many small sprinklers? They're just kind of Home Depot style sprinklers, right?
They are the bigger headset sprinklers, there's probably around 75 to 80.
But how much? 70 what?
There's probably about 75 sprinkler heads out there in that grass.
But how much?
6 different runs.
Run at a time.
The pump, we do, 8 sprinkler heads, yeah, at a time, because that's all.
What
we
I
can do.
mean is big sprinklers.
Yeah, no, we need some like Seguin Park has the big, yeah.
Farmer sprinklers.
Yep.
And for me, it's just a thought that I've had. If you had adequate water, if you ran a pipe across the top of that west end, or the west side, and if you just put like what I think of as like New Mexico style sprinklers, would require a different, of course. You could just plant like a Bermuda grass that takes a beating. It doesn't take as much care as other grasses. But that west side to me should be developed something like what you're saying. I understand you, even for the grass you have, you need a lot more water.
Yeah, we water day and night.
And you have water, and I bet that if your well wouldn't produce what you need, I bet the Conservancy would let you pump out of the ditches, the canals, something like that. I'm sure they would. It would require, I don't know what it would require, but does your company do water systems, or do you?
Yeah, that's one of the things. We were partnered with Wilson Company engineers on this. They'd be able to handle the calculations and stuff on that.
And I believe the Socorro soil and water can help you with the water stuff as well. They're good. But it's been I live close to there, and it's a very popular, well-used place that frankly is pretty ghetto. We need to spruce it up a little bit. We need to bring this place back together a little bit. Something we'd be proud of. I thank you for your work and stuff, but there's a lot of property there that's not really developed at all.
And one other just sort of factor that figures into this, not really part of our scope, but I've been involved for the last few years in master planning the Rio Grande Trail.
proposed facility, and this is actually right on the path for that trail, and so it actually be a great facility.
You would think there would be some money.
Yeah, there definitely is. The state is actually has a grant program specifically for facilities that are related to the rear end trail or.
Very good. So, I don't know how to get it, but I hear about it.
I think they just opened up the application window, and that's one thing we're gonna try and set up a meeting with Mike next week. And Wilson, because they've got a grants group, and so they're gonna look at ways that they can kind of leverage some of that money.
I know you've been working on funding. What he's talking about, is that a new source, or is that something you've already been working on?
So
The trail stuff.
Chairman Martinez, Commissioner Duggins, commissioners, after Bob is done, I'd like to actually stand up there with Quaylen and go through some other stuff, items that we've noticed logistically and also property damage, right, or the propensity for property damage, so to help you get some ideas going, because I'd like to see your input back by next week so we can get something to Bob, so we can solidify and dial this down. The sooner we do that, the sooner we can get this thing going. When we first started working on this, along with Site Southwest, there was an architect, and I hit Bob up for that. I got the gentleman's card and everything, and I hit Bob up with it again and told him what amount of funds we had, and I'll show you what the anticipated cost is. This is a ballpark figure, of course, but it's pretty close. I'll show you the commission that in a little while. So we need another 1.5 million easy. And so, in understanding that, Bob and I said, hey, I remember the architect that said that it was his bailiwick to go after grants for these type of projects. Can we set up a meeting? And I think we're trying to work in Monday in the morning, right? So that's where we're at on that. So hopefully we'll be successful. And within that might be something that we look at in the ICIP again. And we did go after a beautification grant, and we got $500,000 there. So we did pretty good on that. And then I guess we'll see where we are fiscally with everything else that we're looking at, equipment and personnel, and then a new bill coming in from the state for $220,000 for health insurance. That's based off of last year's bill. This year is supposed to be at least double that. So we got another, on top of $220,000, got about a $440,000 bill coming down the pike. Just so we're aware of that stuff going on. But I would like to, you can stay up there, Bob, while Quaylen and I go through the two different concepts to get some juices flowing, so you guys can get us some ideas back. And I'll go to another slide that shows a ballpark figure of what we're looking at cost-wise, and what we've noticed and what we like about the different concepts. We all like the trees on the west side. I think that's fantastic. But like I said, I'd like to stand up there for a little bit and go through it, and then you guys listen, take some notes of what we might be saying about logistics and crime prevention and destruction of property prevention, hopefully. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. So concept number one, we like this concept better with the gate and non-accessibility to vehicles, because we understand how problematic that is. We really like the tree and possible tent location here. Within this, also we like the RVs here because we figure if these would be prime RV slots here, but the propensity to have more trash going into the lake is higher. So we kind of we thought, well, maybe not. We definitely like the tent and RV prototypes. I think we like the side one, correct?
Yeah.
Because we felt that having a tent behind a vehicle could be problematic. Somebody been drinking or something and then have kids in a tent, and that wouldn't be good. With that said, in this one, we'd like the trees maybe go up there. Maybe only take the road up here, but have a gate. And then just have have that up here, but not have access like it is here. And then, I think there was another facility, another restroom, right?
Yeah.
16.
16, right? Yeah. So we like that concept as well. And
Yeah, that was it. Our main concern on this one was just all access to different vehicles. So that's why we did want option one, that way we can block it off here. And this will be by reservation only. That way we can keep access and we can have somebody man the gate. And then when they reserve, we can open up that area to other vehicles.
You say number one, but with the trees on the west.
Yeah, with the trees.
the trees and the restroom from number 2 in here. And we liked the prototype of to the side on the tents for sure. And we liked
Didn't like the
we
extra.
liked the pavilion. I'm gonna call them pavilions, but I think they're websites, shelters there. And then we definitely liked the reduction in some of the green area here, made it more manageable with water needs, especially if we're gonna try to treat the water to trees over here. And then so
Are
so
those
it's a combination of 1 and 2, so we're thinking this is more economic, but yet more user-friendly and beautification intensified, I think.
Did you say you do or you don't like the extra RV parking there along the grass?
I like it here.
You like it there?
Yeah, because over here, we felt, these would be prime spots, but the propensity of trash overflowing and getting in there, we're already gonna have different pavilions anywhere in there anyway, so we started looking at that, and when we go out there, it doesn't matter how clean they are, it's constantly, if a wind kicks up, we didn't wanna be messing up the lake again.
Question, I know number 11 up at the corner, where the gathering area, I know that you were just talking about that main reservation. What about those little shelters along the lake? Is that gonna be reservations only? Because I just see a lot of, it was like, okay, let's race to that.
That happens.
If that's the case, okay, if there's no reservation, maybe we can add a few more down towards the bottom. I don't know,
Yeah,
just
so-
a thought.
We could probably, I think Bobby was suggested this, we could add some more of these even over here and possibly over here, or even up on this side, so maybe pop a few more in there. And then actually that's a good idea, and then when they're making reservations, within our price index, we could say, okay, you can rent this space, you got a tent, or even if you have an RV, but if you want one of these, let's call them a pavilion or rec site, it's an extra. And then that way you don't get that rush, or at least if you get a rush, then people will go just like in a stadium, hey, we got tickets to this right here. I need to cook my hot dog, or whatever the case may be. So we wanted to get the juices flowing, so if you get those back to us, that way I can get it to Bob. Bob, we can get on the gun and try to get this thing finalized.
Could Manager Hawks has a thought ever been to like the island to make it a supreme place to be? I don't know what else to say.
So if you remember, we had a family that
Right,
dedicated the bridge and we had lights in there.
right.
Part of the new recommendations, we're gonna get heavy duty lights because they broke the lights within 2 months.
We had those broken and lights stolen off the bridge.
We actually had benches in there, fishing benches and stuff.
And they took them?
So if we're gonna do it, it's gonna have to be heavy duty and somebody's gonna pull something if they try to take it.
Well, I gate it, I just now thought of it, it would be if somebody wanted to rent the island, you know, even for
That's a
a
good
wedding
idea.
or something.
Well,
Yeah,
I wonder if we put one of those in there. I mean, that would be right. Rent your own island, we could say rent your own island.
the whole island for all we
Well, I- Okay, so I'm gonna go to. Okay, so get your glasses on.
You have copies of that too?
Oh, you have it in there?
Yeah, you want me to have them?
Yeah, sure.
Right? Just a question for Mike and Bob and Brayden. Item 12, enhancing existing playground. Like, what do you mean by that? Enhancing?
So that would cover with this, there's a list of stuff. And I think Bob has that concept here.
Yeah, I mean, basically the equipment's been in for a while.
Yeah, so replacing the old equipment and getting more modernized.
Because the reason,
Added some shade
yeah,
over top of it.
that's the reason I asked him, because we had a citizen that came and to one of our commission meetings, he said that it was real hot.
Oh, yeah, the kids can't even use the slides. So the idea would be, I could be wrong, but I think we're thinking about putting stationary posts and doing like canopy cable, right?
Yeah.
That's very cost effective.
And the bathrooms, the restrooms, are they gonna be water or are they gonna be dry?
So they're gonna be water, but we will not do showers liability wise, we just can't. We can't fade that type of liability, we can't afford it. But they'll be wet, is my understanding, both.
Okay.
but no drinking water. Just,
Not at this point, not at this point, because that would involve treatment.
Yeah.
So you wanna hold on to your hearts. So we have 750K minus some things where we're doing the aeration already. I think that's 18K, give or take. So if you look at possible costs, you're looking at 2 to 2.3 million. And then minus our 725K. So we need about 1.5. We can do this in phases. We just need the concept solidified and try to get this ready going, go out to bid, meet with the architect that goes after grant money, and then try to get that side while we're building and spending this other money. I want to spend this other money because 250K of it is ARPA. That thing's got a sunset clause on it, along with our beautification grant. It's a little bit longer than our ARPA, but I would like to really start moving.
you like it?
We need to,
I hate to like do it in phrases because I start thinking, well, yeah, we'll get about halfway and then die too.
Yeah. But that's the same thing we're doing with the courthouse. We're hitting the windows again.
But if
Just
we can
talking to
find
the
that grant
architects
money,
again today.
you can help that, the grant.
So we're hoping we're successful on the grant, and we're hoping, I'm gonna have a serious talk with the commission about fiscal spending and what we're doing with interest income and what we can do. Hopefully within the next 2 or 3 meetings, we can actually sit down and start saying, okay, let's identify, this is what our revenue sources are. How do we optimize those revenue sources to get things done in each of our districts, each of your respective districts? So, okay,
good idea.
alrighty.
Thank you for your work on that, all of you.
Thanks, Bob.
It's a popular spot in the rural county. And you did mention some kind of barriers, you know, we have those pipe, whatever they are, it's disaster, you know?
Yeah, it's hard. We get the ATVs.
But something more formidable.
Commissioners, you heard, Mike need your recommendations on this as soon as possible. So if you guys can send him up on this, and that way he can. Anything else? Bob? That's all I have. Okay, thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bob, were you or your firm involved in the trail? You mentioned the trail. It's a long trail. I don't really remember. Doesn't it start down here at the Bocc and go up to Isleta?
The game plan is for it to run all the way from the Colorado border down to El Paso.
Was it you that presented to the Conservancy what they wanted was a permission to use a canal bank from Isleta to Arlenall Street? Was that you?
It was not. I mean, I've met with the Conservancy in the past. Actually, I know with Mike when he was the director.
It was the city.
But it was actually, I'm guessing it was somebody from the state, probably, because they actually have another company that's now been charged with implementing, I think, like 100 miles a year or something like that. So Carl Colonius is the one that's been trying to negotiate with the Conservancy over the liability issues. So it may have been him.
I just wanted to let the commissioners know to ease the sticker shock from the Isleta, I believe, around where the I-25 crosses the river, around in that neighborhood to Arlenall Street. They're gonna improve an existing ditch bank, I think, for the tune of 19 million for a bike trail. So, and that wasn't the Conservancy, that was the city or the county or the partnership or something, but they just wanted permission from the Conservancy to use the facility. But so maybe that'll help you get
Yeah, I
out.
was gonna say 2.3, you guys got a deal going.
19 million. And it'll be over budget and behind time, I'm sure.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next, you need a motion for this or just no? Item B, consideration of resolution 2023-16, updating appraiser certification compensation.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, before you, we currently have, state law currently allows for an extra benefit to be provided by the county to appraisers who reach their certification. And as Julie can attest, it's not easy to get this certification. It takes a lot of work. A lot of people study for it and don't get it. So it's a great benefit to the county for those people who have that certification and work in her office. It allows them, depending on the level of certification, it allows them, to do their jobs better, and certainly creates a great benefit for the county in assessment and ultimately the general fund of the county. In this year's legislature, the legislature increased the amounts for appraiser certification. The Board of County Commissioners is not obligated to increase what it pays. It's just like, with elected officials' salaries, that basically you can go up to the max, you can't go more. You're not obligated to do anything. However, before you is the recommendation to increase to the maximum, and I will allow Julie or Mike if they wanted to discuss it more, if it's in the budget and if it's something that they believe is appropriate. It's up to this board.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this certification, one of the things that got changed on it was the amounts went up, and the assessor and the deputy are allowed to get the maximum. So the way it works is every time you pass a class, you gotta have 4 levels to get certified, and then you have to take classes every 3 years. We've taken 3 since I got certified, so I've got 7 of them that I've taken. And these are college level courses done in 4 days, 4-hour test on Friday. Let me tell you, they are not easy to pass unless you're a numbers person. I'm not a numbers person. And, you know, they're very hard. So anyway, so when your appraisers, when you hire new appraisers, you want them to be trained when they go out there and appraise your house. You don't want them just to go out there and just do the work and come in and put a value on it. They need to justify why they put that value on your house or your land or anything else. And that's what these classes do. They train you how to do it. The only big appraiser we have in town is Orvin Witten. Okay, that's basically kind of like what we do. We basically do what Orvin Witten does in our office. And we do it for math, 40-some thousand parcels, we do that. And this is to keep your employees, instead of hiring someone, training them, and then they go someplace else. You give them an incentive to stay there. And what I see now that they're allowing the assessors and the deputies to get it is that for later on in 3 years, when I'm no longer here and a new assessor comes in, a new deputy comes in, that assessor is going to have something to look forward to hopefully learn the job. We've had assessors in this county, some of you know, that didn't know anything about the assessor's office. And we got so far behind. Now we're to the point where we're caught up. We're almost done with the master appraisal. We brought in like $100 and some million in taxable value, which, I mean, that's unreal. That's just unheard of. And we're still going. We still got another year to go on the master appraisal, and then we'll start all over again. But this is just incentive for everybody to give it. And another thing that they changed in that was they used to just be appraisers could get it. As long as you work in the assessor's office, appraisers could get it. But now anybody in the office can get it. Anybody that wants to take the test. And it's always been, since I've been the assessor or was the deputy, I told my clerks, you guys can take the class. We'll change your status to appraiser or whatever, but now we don't have to do that. They can take the class and get the stipend. Since I've been there, since 1997, we have not had anybody certified. I think the only person in Socorro County that's ever been certified was Andy Sanchez, and I'm thinking he was. I'm certified. My deputy assessor, David Monet, certified. My chief deputy, David Naranjo, certified. I've got one. Classes are going to be held next week here at Tech, a whole week. I've got one that's taking his 3rd class, 2 that are going to take in their 2nd class. And they didn't have anything for us this year, so we couldn't take anything. Hopefully next year they'll have something for us to take. It just benefits the county, really, because we get protests. I don't know how many protests David had this year. We get these protests where people don't think their values are correct. We have to go before a board, or we have to go and justify those values. And at the end of the year, the last 4 or 5 years, I don't think we've been to protest board, right? We settled it, because that means our appraisers and our guys, we're out there doing correctly and putting those values on, and everybody's satisfied at the end of the day. And that's what this does. This just gives us the incentive to keep doing what we're doing and keep taking classes and educating ourselves and our staff. And we have to be, as elected assessors, we have to take classes. We have to be educated. And they're requiring us to be certified. So, and pretty much almost all the assessors are certified pretty much now, unless they're a brand new assessor. But it's I recommend it. I mean, I don't know, I guess I can recommend it. I don't know.
Certainly. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, you will have to input the numbers if you'd like to go up to that amount. I mean, you can see there's blank spaces. You'll have to write those numbers in if you want to go to the full amount or to a lesser amount. This is the part where Julie's gonna, where Julie was gonna hit me.
I'm gonna break your other leg.
Gonna break my other leg.
As stressed as I've been to the last few days during the report, yeah.
Everybody, the chief deputy appraiser gets, the law hasn't, they just increased the amounts. The assessor and the chief deputy assessor have always been allowed to partake in this. However, remember, the Constitution prohibits changing the amount any elected official is paid during their term of office. So like Julie said, it's going to be for the next assessor.
Well,
she's the only one who's out.
No, this is to take place for the new assessors now, and any assessor in office. And this doesn't come out of the general budget, it comes out of our 1%.
except for the elected official is the problem.
I don't think that's what it's, well, I don't know, whatever.
Everybody gets it except the Constitution prohibits you, which really sucks. And I disagree with it, but that's.
Because I know they're gonna try to pass, they're gonna do something else, like gentrification or something on the thing now.
If
They're gonna try to pass.
If they can get that passed, then you can have it. Otherwise, everyone else gets it. So.
And they get it, the way we've done it in the past is, if you take the first class, before it was like $500 for the first class. Once you pass it, you got $500. Other counties, what they would do, you got your $500, and then next year, you get another $500, and you get $500 every July. We didn't do that, because we didn't have the money. So now, what we're trying to do is to where they get that stipend, and I think it's $750 now, or whatever you guys decide. They'll get it now. They'll get it every year from now on once they pass that class. And if they pass the second class, it goes up a certain amount. And they get it every July. So if, let's say they're certified, they'll get a total of, right now it's like 9,000. And they'll get that every year in July, out of 1%.
Correct.
It's not out of the general, it's out of the one, because it's for appraisers or assessor staff now.
So. I was gonna say, so what, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, what we need is a motion to approve if you so desire, and to say motion to approve with the statutory amount, or if you would like to do a lesser amount, then you need to in the motion.
And these are the statutory amounts and these.
Correct, where you see in the parenthetical, after therefore be resolved, there's 750 is the maximum, 1,750 is the maximum, 3,000, 3,500. So we would write those in or a lesser amount depending on what the board approves.
Who doesn't?
Or doesn't, you're not obligated to approve anything.
Yes, sir. What do you recommend?
I've reviewed the 1% that the assessor has said that would be utilized to pay for this state approved, I'm not gonna call it compensation for appraiser 1, appraiser 2, appraiser 3, and appraiser 4. She does have the amount of money it would take. If at this time, I know there was conversation where she said anybody in her office can apply to be an appraiser. She would reclassify them. Coming from the HR standpoint, I would have some real problems with that based upon the department's construction and configuration. Obviously, you wouldn't have a receptionist being an appraiser. I think so. But with that said, and then that would run afoul with her base amount that she has in the 1%. However, those that are identified as appraisers, she does have the funds available where she could pay if the commission wants to go with a maximum in each appraiser phase 1, 2, 3, 4. She does have the funding right now with the personnel identified that are in the queue or have already achieved appraiser 1 or are in the queue for appraiser 2, 3, and 4. So that's where we're at fiscally. As far as that being expanded to everybody and everything, I think that's for a future discussion and based upon obviously funding on the 1%.
Excuse me, commissioners, but I think in that statute it says now it's supposed to say in there on the statute that one of the changes was any employee in the assessor's office can receive it.
No, any appraiser.
I think it says any employee.
The appraisers working in the office of the assessor, not any person.
Okay, I thought I read someplace in there that it's, but I haven't read it in a couple of days, so I don't even know. But
I think, at that point, my suggestion, if
that my clerks are gonna go, because they've been offered for the last 10 years, and then they say there's no way they're taking it.
So that at that point, I think becomes, if the funds are there currently, then I would suggest, if the commission so desires to approve it as is. If someone else is eligible that's not listed, then that of course becomes a management issue, and then Julie will have to meet with Mike, and they'll have to figure out whether or not they can afford it, that sort of thing. But for what we have right now, I think that the resolution is appropriate. And again, that's just that's a management issue. That'd be just, no different than hiring a new employee. What are we going to pay them? You have to work that sort of thing out upon that time.
Well, with the salary study that we did, the salary scale, they're in there, right? So they have the different classifications.
But this is in addition to it, just as yes.
They're already classified.
They are already classified as what they're at. But so let's say one of them goes in and gets an additional certification, that are, like Mike said, if they're in the queue, right now that is currently budgeted for. However, let's say next year, a receptionist decides I want to be an appraiser, well, that is something that's going to have to come back, to management and the details will have to be worked through.
So, I'm sorry, in board policy, we have a policy where somebody goes and gets extra training, they're entitled to so much money, correct?
So this would be independent of that policy, Mr. Chairman, because since the legislature approved that policy is a standalone policy, and this will be a standalone policy as well.
So they have a chance to get credit.
Yes.
Okay. And everybody in my office been offered to do these tests, those that have taken them. Our appraisers it's mandatory, our appraisers have to pass the first class within the first 2 years. It's mandatory. If not, we let them go. That's in their job description. It should be. They have to pass it. The appraisers do. There's no ifs and buts about it. They've got to pass the first class, and hopefully they'll pass the next one. But they really got to pass the first one. So if they don't pass it, then they're gone.
By letting them go, you're the one that lets go.
Yeah, we'll go through the process, but yeah, it's in our thing. They have to have the appraiser. In order to be an appraiser, you've got to at least have the first class within 2 years.
One more question from me. How many employees do you have in the office?
10, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9, 10 with me and 8.
So you have 10 employees.
And the other person that's certified too, but she don't work in our office, is Jane Briggs. She's in the mapping, but they have to work in the assessor's office to get this certification.
And the 1% this money's going to be coming from this.
Is the 1% is money that's allocated to the assessors to do reappraisal purposes, like to buy vehicles, buy equipment, pay for employees, like if I want to hire someone, pay the raises, pay these stipends, and it states in there that it's coming out of the 1%. And that's what we work. Well, we don't work because we want to make more money, but when we do our evaluations, and we're going from, $100 and some million more in the last 8-9 years, that's a lot of money and we're not having it thrown back at us with our protests where we're losing it. Even our commercial properties, we're appraising those and we're getting them up there, and we get protests every year on commercial properties. And these commercial property people, they go through property tax consultants out of Albuquerque, the big people, and they still come down and our values are still good. They're not even fighting us. They go through it and they say, no, you guys are good, and so we're not throwing anything back on those protests. And now I think this certification that I'm going to turn in now is going to be $265 million taxable value.
For the county.
From 240.
So, any questions from Joe?
I'm gonna put you on speaker now.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
With what I heard of discussion was being said, I make a motion to approve it as presented. Current structure of the assessor's office, speaking to the current people that are at the levels of assessor 1, 2, 3, or 4. And as Adrian spoke to, when there's a need for more people of that level of training, and it has to be budgetary for the next fiscal year or 2 years down. It can't be in the middle of the year that receptionist suddenly comes up. That has to be within the present structure.
And the classes are only offered once a year.
Okay,
So
so
what's the dollar amount for 1, 2, 3, and 4? That's your motion.
I think the maximum amount, that's the maximum.
That's the motion at the maximum amount.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez,
I second.
second by Commissioner Aguilar. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, yes. Are you saying that if we vote for this motion, it doesn't affect the budget, her budget, anybody's budget?
She has the funds in.
She has the funds, but those funds are also for, what did you say, vehicles and?
1%. We have like 200 and some. How much? 200 and some thousand? 230,000 or 1%.
But it's used for what?
It's used for, if I want to hire part-time appraisers, to help with the reappraisal, it's for, supplies.
You have done those through the past or?
Yeah, in the past. I won't be hiring any more part-time, because we're to the end of our reappraisal cycle. Now everything's gonna go smooth finally. But anyway, vehicles, if our vehicles break down, we can buy a vehicle with that. We can, like I say, pay the salaries of appraisers. We can't pay our clerks' salaries, but we can pay the appraiser's salary.
But what I mean is, so if you do the additional pay for employees, you can't buy the vehicle. I mean, it all comes from the same money, right?
For the 1%. Yeah, I mean,
there has to be an end to it somewhere.
Well, you know what the thing is? We're told that our values don't start dropping. I mean, then you guys can amend it and take it off, but our job is to bring in value and make sure everybody assessed correctly, current and correct.
And you've been doing a good job.
And that's what we're doing. And so we're gonna have more value this year, probably more value next year. Then we'll probably stop going to, a phase unless we start getting more buildings. But it's just a matter of how much work you want to get out of us, how much work we want to put into it.
Well, a good employee ought to put what they need in.
Exactly, you're right.
And so they've been showing, obviously.
Yeah. When we took over and started the reappraisal, we were at 230 million. We're at 65 million. We're doing the work, and that's possible.
But here's where I am, Mr. Chairman, to do something for the county, the road department needs a grader, a loader. I mean, there's needs across this county all the time, and you get your 1% out of whatever the state gives you, but it still takes from your vehicles or from somewhere. It takes money from. And I think that in anybody's job, if you go to a class that betters your job, betters you for the job, I mean, that's expected. It's to do a good job, we gotta pay. That person should do a good job.
Well, and it's not so much doing a good, it's so much knowing your job. This is you can't just pick anybody and say, go appraise and do this. You gotta have the knowledge. You gotta know capitalization. You gotta know the economics. I mean, it is, these classes cost like $450 to send a person to one of these classes. And it'll cost a little more now because we're probably, still, because we're having them here. These are high. I don't know, I just think if I want my appraisers to stay, we gotta pay, now they're gonna go someplace else. And then you're gonna start all over. We're gonna go back to 10, 20 years, 15 years ago.
So if I may, just let's look at it fiscally. There's 230,000 and change in the 1% fund. I believe you have 2 appraiser ones.
Hopefully 2 appraiser 2s now they take the next
So
step.
2 appraiser 1s, hopefully 2 appraisers 2. I don't know if you have any appraiser 3s.
We're gonna have, we have one that's an appraiser 2 right now.
Okay, so
And he's gonna study to be an appraiser.
Let me just ask you this. And within the fiscal year of 23-24, how many will top out at a 1, 2, 3, and 4?
Just the only one we're gonna have, you can only take the test once a year.
Okay,
So there's gonna be two, right now we have two at one at two, and then since I'm not included, as always, two at 4.
So the maximum optimum amount is 2 4s and 2 3s by the end of the fiscal year, right?
Right.
So let's just do the math. of
38.
what the fiscal
How much, David?
So that's 9,000 times 2, that's 18,000. And 5,500 times 2, that's 11. So $30,000 impact in this fiscal year out of 230,000. And within that 1%, you're still adding as you go. So you're replenishing by recognizing certifications, but yet you're still revenue coming in. So in reality, you're replenishing your base, the possibility of your base, no more than 10%, give or take, maybe 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then that would leave you enough for other recognizable things. Just,
If we needed a vehicle or
vehicle, and like we had the assessors conference here, stuff like that. So that's the fiscal impact for the commission to identify. Then that's if you want to go with the maximum again. So it's your decision. So those are the numbers fiscally.
That 230, has it taken years to get 230, or is that a yearly?
it's what we get is 1% of whatever the treasurers collect.
Has that built up?
Yeah, it's built up, yeah. It's been built up. And that's because we've been doing the
What
work.
would you expect to get like this year?
This year, let's say I wish I would have looked at the warrants, but last year the tax dollar amount that the county was gonna collect was 10 million, close to 10 million. So we're gonna go about maybe.
We average about 50,000 a year.
So actually
50,000 a year
And 1%.
at 1%,
Yeah.
and you're spending how much?
Actually, that's low. When I looked at it, the 78, we budgeted 78 in your 1%.
Yeah. That's what, yeah.
So
we start off every year.
it's gonna be 78. She wants to spend 30 of that 78. So in reality, she'll have 230.
You can buy half a car. I guess.
230 and then, so 230 and she brings in 78 and spends 30. She's still gonna have 278 after this is put into play.
Right, but that 230 it's a cumulative.
Yeah, so
It has
then she'll
accumulated.
still accumulate. If this is the only thing she puts in place, she'll still have, at the end of the fiscal year, 278. Of course, she'll have other expenses that could bring her down to 250.
Yeah.
But
The majority of that income is in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
What's that?
The majority of that 230 has been accumulated within the last 10 years.
Well, that's what I mean. Can we keep it up? I mean, she's got 230 now. I see.
You figure we're gonna get like at least 75,000 every year, because we're already established that tax base already, so we're gonna get 75,000 every year. So that's,
yeah, so if the commission implements it, you're actually gonna have a base, your 230 is gonna go to 278, even though you expend this 30 grand, if the commission authorizes.
unless we
Your
start
base is
spending
still gonna be-
crazy or illegally or won't happen.
We watch the budget, so that will
Yeah. And we do too. I have someone that watches the budget like tonight, yeah. I mean, we don't spend it, we're gonna be implementing our new mapping system. We've already taken that out of the budget. We've already taken out our new title system going online. We're just waiting for all that to come aboard, but we've already taken all that out. So unless our trucks really break down, we don't foresee anything this year. But we're guaranteed 75,000 every year.
From the state.
No.
From the
property tax.
1%.
Or the 1%, or what the treasurers collect. Every year, that's guaranteed, because that base has already been established. Yeah, you wanted to say?
It was Mr. Hawk's questions. That was the same question.
Okay, same question. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Gonzalez to do the maximum amounts that's shown in this. And we have a second by Commissioner Aguilar. We discussed it. I think and I've said this before, every department head knows their budget. And they're the ones that goes with the manager in order to make sure that they have enough money. I understand that there's emergencies and stuff like that. It's kind of hard for the commission to come up with money when out of the blue and says, okay, I need $50,000 more, right? But the way, what I'm hearing, you guys will be working, we have enough money to do this, you continue to have the money. And every year, you'll be meeting with him to make sure we can continue.
The only thing is that, let's say, everybody decides not to pay taxes. Then you have a problem.
Mr. Chairman, if that were to the case, or if something happened, this board can revise this resolution
Right.
and reduce the amount. This is not a salary, this is a benefit. So the board can come back in 2 months and say, all right, we'll make it half that. So that can always change depending on budget.
Yeah.
Well, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, it's approved.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you for my employees, not for me, but thank you for them.
Thank you also. Item C, consideration of resolution 2023-53, Open Meetings Act revised.
And Mr. Chairman, members of the board, we've had this on several times, and the commission is deciding when it would like its meetings to be. It is 100% within the discretion of this board when the meetings are going to be held. Traditionally, they are held on the second and fourth Tuesday, so I would recommend that. I know we've had a discussion in the past of what times to have them at. This county has had various times. So there was a long time it was at 6 o'clock, and there were lots of times it was at 9 o'clock, and it's changed throughout the years. So it is really what is at the convenience of this board.
Commissioners, you've heard our attorney. What is the will of the commission? So we can end this.
Mr. Chairman, we do need to end this but I would say, whatever time we choose, it should be that time, and it should be that time on both meetings. 5 here and 10 there and 9 there, and
Okay,
if it's so we're gonna pick a time.
I need a recommendation.
Well, that being said, I'm gonna make a motion that we set it for 9 a.m. like it used to be for both meetings on the second and fourth Tuesday of the month. 9 a.m.
Any other recommendations from the commissioners?
Oh, was this your recommendation?
That was a motion.
Need a motion for 9 a.m.?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna second that, so.
Well, I think that.
Okay, we have a motion for 9 a.m. both meetings by Commissioner Devens. Do I hear a second? I'll second it. For 9 a.m. Any further discussion? And the reason I'm bringing it up is this has been coming up, and employees that have to come in like after 5 at work, they have to pay overtime. And
Well, look at us now, it's 7 o'clock.
Not necessarily. I mean, if we can adjust some of these hours, right? Some of these hours are adjustable, right?
like how we don't do flex time.
In terms of like.
That's different.
Like the day of, like for example, like come in at 10 o'clock,
Yeah.
Say again? You guys want to say something?
Yes, as an employee, I think the morning kind of has to just be 9 or 10 o'clock. I know last meeting, 10 o'clock was suggested. I have lots of people that would love to come and present, stakeholders and things. At 5 o'clock is just really not doable, as you can see. and it is hard on employees. And so 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning is certainly recommended from an employee and from my staff for sure. Because like I said, there are lots of people that want to come and present on our behalf, but they can't do it in the evening. So thank you for consideration.
I'm of the same opinion. It's got to be earlier in the day because I've been talking to a bunch of people.
Say again?
I believe it should be earlier, like Tina said. I've talked to a few people about these later meetings, and it's really difficult for some people to be here, especially people that have kids.
But the sheriff, the people employ people or?
Yes, employees, not presenters, but employees. I know it is going to be a little more difficult. But then again, you know, it's. I guess it would be more important to get the commissioners here when they're able to get here. So I don't know, but that's just my opinion. It would be easier to be here in the day and then other people.
But Mr. Chairman, as commissioners, we signed up for it.
Well,
Okay.
we have a motion for 9 in the morning for both meetings. They will second it. Can we do a roll call vote? Please.
Commissioner Aguilar? Vice Chair Sakadero?
Hey,
Commissioner Duggins?
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
No.
Chair Martinez?
Yes. So motion failed. Now we need a motion for an alternate time.
Can I make two motions?
Joe said he wanted to make a motion. It failed.
All right, I want to make a motion to keep the meetings as they are right now. Maybe the second and last Tuesday of the month at 5 o'clock.
Every meeting? Or
You did both.
both at 5?
Commissioner Gonzalez, if I may, what is your reasoning for that? After hearing from employees and from other ones that it would be more convenient for 9 and it would prevent overtime and more people would come to the meetings. I'd like to know your reasoning for it, sir.
You're talking about the overtime, right?
Overtime and more participation.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I heard the comments about overtime and about employee participation, and I still stand by my motion about keeping the meetings as they are at 5 o'clock on the Tuesdays that they're at.
And your reasoning?
Reasoning, I just think it works best for the present commission. I mean, I think we have them at 5 o'clock in the afternoon for the public. And whether you're the public or and I think the public has more where they have to work and then after work they'll come to the meeting. And no disrespect to the employees. I mean, I think we have great employees for the most part. I think that I support the employees based on my voting pay packages and all that stuff. But when it's time to come to work, it's time to come to work. And if you, as an employee, if an issue isn't important to you, you come whenever it's time for you to present. That's just me. That's it in a nutshell.
Thank you. Okay.
Fiscally, I'd like to look at, as far as fiscally, I think the county can incur 6 hours overtime for employees and the amount that we pay in overtime. Fiscally, I don't think it's going to be a detriment to the budget.
So the Motion was for keeping the meetings at 5, both meetings. And it was second, it was approved. So,
We didn't take the vote.
okay, sorry. Motion was from Commissioner Gonzalez to keep them at 5, both meetings. Need a second. Second by Commissioner Secretary. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Aguilar,
Roll call.
Vice Chair Secretary,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Duggins,
No.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Chair
Yes.
Martinez.
No, Madam Clerk. Okay, so
Get back.
it passed.
Okay, good. All right. Right. See you. Good night. Good night.
Item D.
Good night is the word of the day, no?
Item D, acknowledge personnel changes. Who'd like to take care of that?
Is that young, right?
Yeah.
Let me see that kid. Just. Let's see, Chairman, we have Crystal Carvajal, new hire, and Damian Townsend, new hire, and James Medina, new hire, Tanya Mosler, promotion to sergeant, and Robert Morin, I believe I hope I pronounced that right, promotion to sergeant.
Thank you, Commissioner Evans. Need a motion to, for consideration of acknowledging personnel changes.
Make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Secretary, second by Commissioner Duggins. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Personnel changes are acknowledged. Item 11, approval of vendor checks and approval of payroll checks. In the past, we've done both. Need a motion?
If I could make a motion to combine 11A and B, approve vendor checks for the amount of $518,293.19 dated for July 10th, and then approving the payroll checks dated for July 11th, $245,433.27.
Have a motion by Commissioner Secretary, second by Commissioner Aguilar. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Vendors checks and payroll checks are approved. Item 12, executive session. Need a motion and roll call vote to go into executive session and present to amendment state statute section 10-15-1. Only the following matters will be discussed in closed session. A, pending or threatening litigation. I, the state of New Mexico General Services State Assessment Insurance Benefit. Item 2, declaratory judgment action on vehicle emission emblems. Item B, real property, I, Camino Ignardo Road. So I need a motion to go into executive session. Motion by Commissioner Secretary, second by Commissioner Aguilar. Roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Aguilar, Vice Chair Secretary,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Duggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez, Chair Martinez.
Yes, Madam Clerk. Thank you. We are now in executive session.
Did you see this?
No, that's all.
Yes. It's like, well, I don't know, if they're, I know like when the school.
As soon as you guys get on.
Schedule like the kids. I know that, but I don't know.
Remember those little structures?
Yeah, are you burning up out there?
I got thrown off course. Just years from now.
That's my.
I'm sitting over it now. That's your cow.
You did.
5 years.
Because
Not fun. Got me bugged
you
on.
and your brother, Steve,
Brother Jason. Yeah.
but you're doing that. Yeah, when was that to you?
I just,
He and my son go.
that's to get a little.
Yeah. Back in.
I. I think this one may be
It's my dad's. It's sister, it's my grandma's.
Sarah, how you doing?
So they should.
And me and my brother Jason. I've been there for 5 years.
See, and with my son, he's all like, he's mine now, but
It was gonna.
yes, I can see that.
I get along with my.
It's, it broke my heart.
Oh, yeah. My dad too.
Oh, we have it.
One of my brothers still there. My other brother, Steven's at Steve Farm.
Yeah.
And Jason is my
I
youngest
don't
brother.
know that I know.
No, he was always a Christian.
All right. They have dropped like, you know, those wire fences that they put.
Yeah.
They fill them full of rock.
Oh, yeah.
You got big rock.
Yeah, we got 6 inch. It's manganese, it's purple.
Oh, you mean that black stuff where your dad lives?
No. It's like the purplish, like the color of the mountains. Purplish.
Is it brown or?
Right there, they'll be crushed. It's for those, they call gate meal.
Oh, they're crushed special for that.
Yeah.
But if I put it in a cattle mile, well, 13 weeks by 6.
We got some, 6, big stuff. But yeah,
I'm gonna, I got a fence that's made out of, with a pipe across. I think I'm gonna put another wire
This
and
side?
just, I don't know. I think
I've seen those. Looks nice. They'll do boxes at the end.
Mile 13 on Upper yeah. 14 on the door. Freaking pulled out. Mile 14. If she does start with that. Completely dead. But what was funny about it? 50 pounds.
Yeah.
And so, same weight as my daughter.
You should have taken her with you. Howdy.
Doing, I'm just here getting overtime. I don't understand why either.
I don't even get overtime. I don't. I work a couple hours.
I don't know why they just didn't come and do the recording of the meeting. I mean, they have something going on in Rio Doso. They don't have to be there tomorrow, like at 10. I guess it's 8 o'clock or something. Whatever. But it would have been nice if they would have given me 10 o'clock this morning. Oh, by the way, you're recording. It's like, oh, yeah, thanks.
I gotta look at it, because you guys are on and still recording everything.
Oh, no, we're not. Very appropriate.
adjourn to regular session. And matters discussed in closed session were limited to those specified in the motion for closure. And no final action was taken as per New Mexico statute section 1015-1. Your motion?
So,
Motion by Commissioner Santiago, second by Commissioner Vidal. Roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Aguilar, Vice Chair Secretary,
yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Huggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez, Chair Martinez.
Yes, Madam Clerk, thank you. We are now in regular session. Action items, A, appointment of freeholders to new Camino Eduardo Road for vacating.
Correct. Yes, Mr. Chairman, if I might, the vacating the road has actually been suggested by the only landowner on the road. I would suggest a motion to have a committee of freeholders view the road and that committee be appointed by the manager, that you delegate the authority to appoint the committee by the manager and that they come back and report to you after they've met.
So that would be the motion.
Yes.
Well, I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Huggins on the recommendation from our attorney. Second by Commissioner Aguilar. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is approved. Commissioner, the manager will get 3 freeholders to Eduardo and come back to the commission.
And Mr. Chairman, if I might, there is no action required on items 13B or C at this time.
Okay. Okay, our next commission meeting will be July 25th at 5 p.m. Need a motion to adjourn?
So,
Motion by Commissioner Secretary. Second by Commissioner Gonzalez. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
What are we at?
We are adjourned at 7:50. Thank you, Commissioners.